Deberíamos estar streaming. Ver, 1 segundos. This is how every live starts. But yes, I think here we are. I think we're live. I hope so. So hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar for the Big 8 application. It's the season again. So we have started our Big 8 application, and we are starting to get many questions from you guys. So we decided to do a little webinar so we can answer your questions more directly. With me today is Daniela. She is a process coordinator here at Startup Chile, and Macarena, who is part of the acceleration team. She's a business developer. My name is Amparo. I'm the marketing director, and we'll be here today answering your questions. But beforehand, we will be presenting a little bit about our program so you can know what you're applying to. Okay. So yeah, let's get started first. Dani, I think you're starting this.
Yes, I am. Hello, everyone. I hope you can see my screen. You can see it, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. So let's start with this webinar about Big 8 and why Startup Chile. Okay, so first of all, we are the first public accelerator in the world. That's in 24 case studies, including the MIT, Stanford, Harvard, and others universities. So what do we look in the startup we accelerate? Okay, so first of all, we will be sharing with you what's our program. If you want to know more about how to do your application or what do we look for in our applications, you can look into our second webinar, which will be in a couple more weeks. So first of all, what do we look into the startup we accelerate? First of all, it has to be tech-based. That is, for example, not to have a Facebook page, for example. It has to be a tech-based background, okay? It has to be innovative. I know that all of you maybe think that you have the first idea ever. I know that some of you may think of this, but we look into some of the distinct and innovative startups. It has to be scalable. That is to say, for example, I can, for example, start this in Chile and I can take this to Argentina, and it will be, it can go all the way here in Chile, in China, in all of the world, and it has to have an impact, okay? So we are industry agnostic. We actually have our portfolio with all kinds of startups, and we are agnostic to nationalities. Actually, we have startups from all over the world. We have more than 3,000 startups in our portfolio, and we have more than 6,000 entrepreneurs all over the world. Okay, so I will leave you here with Macarena so she can go ahead and say about us, about a little bit about our programs.
Thank you, Daniela. So let's talk a little bit about our programs that we call BIG, for Build, Ignite, and Grow. Let's start with the Build one. This is our, first, this is a little overview of our 3 programs. So you can see the amounts of money for each of the program and also the stage of the startups that we're looking for. So let's start with the Build one. So this is our pre-acceleration program, and this is same for early stage startups. So we're looking for projects that are between an idea to early stages of prototype. This program consists of a 4-month acceleration program and also a 4-month for the execution of the subsidy. We select 2 generations per year, and we will give you $15 million pesos in equity-free funding. In this program, you also have the opportunity to win an extension, and that means a direct transfer to our Ignite program. So let's talk a little bit about Ignite. This is our acceleration program, and here we're looking for startups that have at least a MVP and some early validation with clients. So what we're looking for here is that you need to have at least a functional product or service and be in your way to reach a product market fit. So this program also consists of a 4-month acceleration program, but in this case, the subsidy execution is in 6 months. We also select 2 generations per year. And in this case, the funding consists of 30 million Chilean dollar pesos, also equity free. In this program, you have the opportunity to win an extension of 20 million Chilean dollar pesos. So now let's go with our growth program. And this is a program aimed for more consolidated business that are focusing in scaling sales and also expanding their market. So in this case, the program consists of 8 months and the subsidy will be in 12 months. We also select 2 generations per year. And the funding in this case is 75 million Chilean pesos, also equity free. So let's talk a little bit about the requirements for each of our programs. So in the build one, we expect that your project has less than 1 year of commercial development and or less than 1 year since the formation in Chile. What do we mean with commercial development? We mean that you started activities such as sales or pilots with potential clients or things like that. In our Ignite program, we expect that you have at least a product or functional service, so an MVP. And this is really important because we will ask you a video of maximum 2 minutes when you will have to show the functionality of your product or service, because we won't accept links, downloads, landing page, or things like that, only the video. And also, we ask that the project has less than 3 years of commercial development or less than 3 years since the formation in Chile. Finally, for our growth program, we expect that you have accumulated sales between 80 million and 800 million Chilean pesos in a 12-month cycle. If you apply as a legal entity in the growth program, we expect that you have at least 24 months since your iniciación de actividades at Servicio de Impuestos Internos. If you want to apply if you have already a Chilean company of the same nature of your business, you need to apply as a company and not as a natural person. So let's go a little bit of the requirements of the team leader that are for all of our programs. So non-Chilean entrepreneurs must apply as a natural person. We won't accept applications as legal entities. The team leader also has to be at least 18 years old, must hold at least 10% of equity in the company, and must be exclusively dedicated to the startup as a full-time job. So that means no part-time jobs or full-time jobs in other companies or organizations. And this is from the beginning of the acceleration program. The team leader also needs to live and work in Chile for the entire duration of the program and also the execution time. So that means for the build program will be around 4 months, Ignite 6 months, and growth 12 months.
Okay, perfect. So thank you, Macarena. If you're having any questions until right now, you can leave those in the comments and we will check on those later, okay? So let's start with the female founder factor and what is it and how do we take this female founder factor in our program. We understand that women are a key factor in businesses, and that's why we promote female entrepreneurship transversely across all of our programs. We have couple of tweaks and that we do in our programs to help this gap, to reduce this gap. And at least 50% of our selected startups will be led by female founders factor. We will be led by females entrepreneurs as the team leader in our Build program. And 90% of the co-founding for the female founders in our Ignite program, and the 60% of co-founding for female founders in our Growth program. I know this is sometimes hard to understand, but once you get there to our program, you will see that, for example, we are a co-founding program, so you'll have to, for example, present less of your fee as a female leader. Okay, that's what it means. So for the female founder factor, we are committed to reducing the historical gender gap, and that's how we do it. And how do we do it is about the community. We have lots of events that's for the female founder factors. We have in the acceleration and talent for example, we have in the acceleration program mentors for the female founders. In talent, we have the academias. We have led by female mentors. In the ecosystem, we have lots of and in media, we have lots of spot academies or spot instances for female founders. Okay. And what do we do? Maca, I will lead you again with the microphone.
Thank you, Daniela. So let's go a little bit on what do we do and what can we offer you. So some of our resources are, of course, the equity-free funding that we give you, and we will also give you access to our free co-work space. This is an amazing space that I really recommend that you visit if you get accepted, because you wouldn't believe the ideas and connections that happen there. We will also give you some exclusive benefits, so discounts and credits for different platforms, and also some office hours with, for example, legal support or business management. As part of the acceleration program, you will have different activities. We have, for example, mentoring activities, and that means you will get assigned a mentor that can help you advise in different aspects of your business and how to grow it. We also offer academies, so they will touch different topics about different challenges that you will face in developing your business. We also offer office hours with experts of many different industries and specialties. And finally, we give you pitch training so you can perfect your pitch. One of our most valuable aspects is we offer a lot of connections. We have a huge network of, for example, corporations that are looking to work with startups, different investors, also connection with government institutions in the whole country, and also universities. And here you can see some of the numbers of our current network. So we have, as you can see, voluntary mentors, a lot of government and corporate partners here and around the world. We also have, we will help you soft land in Chile if you are non-Chilean. So we offer a 2-year temporary residency, and we will help you through the whole process. You will also have the opportunity to open a Chilean bank account, and you will get the support of an alumni that was in the same position as you. One of the most valued aspects of our suppers is the community that forms around Startup Chile. So you will be part of more than 6,000 entrepreneurs that have passed through the program and all their startups. You will get exclusive opportunities to network with our corporations, partners, and other entrepreneurs. We will also do some events and occasions to foster this networking. And
Okay,
now Daniela will
perfect.
explain why
Thank you.
you should come to Chile.
Right. So why Chile? As we said before, as Macarena said, we help you with the soft landing. And why do we do that? We think that Chile is one of the best countries in the region to do business, okay? In 2022, Chile was the third best country in the Americas for business competitiveness. Okay, so it's really, really good for you that you are starting your startup and you don't know where to look for and where to establish. Chile is a great place to start trying your new business, okay? Chile is an excellent lab. As we said before, we have more than 3,000 entrepreneurs here that kind of started their business. We are the leaders in Latin America on digital connectivity. Our public policies strongly support entrepreneurship. That's actually us. We are a public fund. We are a public policy and multiple global commercial agreements that we have throughout the world. We have lots of pacts with another countries that can help you get here a lot faster. And we have actually the soft landing in Latin America. We are really greatly connected with South and Latin America. Okay, so let's see our super rock stars, our success stories that actually came here. Some of them actually, for instance, Anastasia is from Russia, and she is right now, she came here about the 2016, and she is now living in Chile until now. She went in, I think, the TSF, and then started in the growth program, and she's from Beefy Dice. These are ice cream with probiotics, which establish themselves in the gut that can reduce allergies. So that's really, really, we will look into some of the as we said before, we are agnostic to nationalities and to any kind of specific sector. Okay, so here is the health tech technology. We can now look into Lab for You from Comal, which is a biotech and edtech startup that democratize scientific educations by giving every student access to a pocket laboratory. Okay, so they can look into a tiny laboratory in their cell phones. Okay, which is one of our greatest substars here, Comal. It's one of the top female founders in Chile. Okay, Notco, I surely know that all of you may know Notco, which is a technology, a food tech made by Matias, developed by their group, their team, throughout the artificial intelligence, which is called Giuseppe, creates a sustainable and accessible plant-based food. They have not milk, not mayo, not meat, and all of that. Surely you can go to the supermarkets here in Chile and find a lot of their foods there. So we have a Alvaro, which actually this is a startup made by their own experience, and he transformed the travelers with disabilities to find and book accessible travel experiences, which they open a whole new world for people in situation of disabilities. Okay. Then we have Priyanka, which actually came from India, if I'm not wrong. And the Live Print Co. You can actually find this in the supermarkets, which is also a food tech. And she based their headquarters actually in a region here in Chile. And now we have the next steps for our application process. And we have this, they kind of throughout as once we start going forward, we will start sharing with you more and more dates. But first of all, we have the Generation 8 timeline, which is 2024. We start the application process in the 16th of April, which is in 5 more days. We open our callings and we end this by May 7th. Okay, so you have to be very careful of that, mindful, because I know it takes a long time to complete your application. So be very, very mindful of that. And by the mid to end of July, we will have our results and we will share that with you. And the program will be starting about, and this is to be confirmed, in middle of September. Okay, so again, if you're having any questions, you can go ahead and ask in the comments, because right now Amparo will help us clear those questions for you. And we hopefully we extend the invitation to write the startup way.
Thank you so much, Danny. 1 second, I'm removing some pins. There we are. Thank you guys for the presentation. I hope everything is more clear for you guys who are applying or looking into applying. We are getting a little bit of questions, but they're kind of shy. So we're gonna start by questions that I've gotten from social media. I've gotten some from Instagram as well. So let's start with what can they actually do now that applications haven't started, that they start on the 16th, as they said. What can they do beforehand? Danny, do you have any advice for that? Oh, I think Danny froze. Marco, maybe?
Yes, I recommend that you read the terms and conditions. So that way you will see what exactly are we expecting for your application, and also all the requirements in more detail. So go to our page and look for that.
Yeah, that's great. So our terms and conditions are like the Bible of everything. We still tell that to our suppers who are already here, even to read it like 10 times if that's possible. Also, there is something that you can be making sure to get already, which are your letters of recommendation. They are something that we're gonna be asking, and that's something that we always advise you guys to have beforehand. So you can get a letter of recommendation from, I don't know, even from a professor to someone who has worked with you, a mentor, something like that, that tells us who are evaluating afterwards that you are actually a good project. Okay. So yeah, let's start with, do you guys received concept phase startups? Do we get someone from just an idea, maybe? Maka?
Yes, in the build program, we can receive from an idea to early prototype. So I would say yes, go ahead and apply.
That's great. I also always advise for you to have a validated idea. It's great that we do get a lot of ideas, but the competition is actually quite big, as you would say. So yeah, have some validation, have some I don't know, surveys on something, have people that are already using piloting or something like that. So Danny, Frank here asks, can we follow the program directly from Cameroon? He's watching from Cameroon.
Okay, hello Cameroon. So, as we said, we help you with the soft landing process. So, if you are from Cameroon, you have to come here to Chile, and if you're applying for the Build, Ignite, or Growth program, you have to be here for about 4, 6, or 12 months. Okay, so we help you get to here to Chile, and you can establish here. We offer you a 2-year temporary visa that kind of sponsorship by us. Okay, so yes, you can totally apply from Cameroon, but you cannot execute the program in Cameroon. You have to be here.
Thank you so much. Sergio says, what will be considered tech-based? This is a great question that we always get. I'm asking because twice my company was selected for interview, yet in the last application, we were not considered tech-based. Maka, can you help us with that?
Yeah, so tech-based means that you need to have some kind of technological base in your project, and actually that needs to be the focus that underlines your whole project. So not only, as Daniela said, having a Facebook page, for example, or a web page, the underline of the whole project needs to be based in some kind of technology. And about your projection, maybe it wasn't enough of tech relating to your project, but it will depend on case by case.
Yes, we're always looking for new technologies here at Startup Chile. Manuel says, I have a question related to the female founder factor. Great. Our founder team is formed by 60% females and 40% males. But in this case, we can only apply to the factor if the team leader is a woman, right? Yeah, that's right. I can answer that. So for the female founder factor to happen and to have all these benefits that we just mentioned, you do have to have a team leader who is a female. It doesn't have to be the CEO. It can be, I don't know, your CFO, your CTO. It's just that in the paper and in the application process, she is the leader. And what do we mean by team leader? That's also a huge concept here. It's the person who executes the program. So they would have to come to the academies, they would have to come to the mentoring sessions, to boards, to everything that happens here at our co-work. Your team leader has to do that. Why do I mention this? Because to be quite honest, sometimes we do get female team leaders, but they actually do not execute. So it's kind of weird like that. In order to have all the benefits and everything, they have to be the leader and execute the program. I don't know if that is enough for you, Manuel, to solve your answer. Okay. Danny, you can help me with this. Could you repeat the information about the letter of recommendation? So
Okay, so I couldn't mute myself, but there I go. Yes, the recommendation letter has to be someone that actually worked with your startup or your idea or something like that. We don't know. We don't mean, for example, if your mother thinks that your startup is great. No, that doesn't that doesn't make it to us. It has to be someone that believes in your idea, that actually, for example, help you with that idea. It has to be, as Amparo said, a professor, a teacher, someone, a mentor, an investor, for example, that actually help you to get to that idea. And kind of backs your idea up. Okay, so I think that that's kind of the whole point of the recommendation letter. Someone that has worked with you, believes in your idea, and actually has kind of a matter in the in the whole thing.
that's great. Felipe asks for an example of the form. Actually, the form will be available from the 16th of April. But we tend to ask, I don't know, everything about your startup. So I don't know what you're selling, if you're selling already or not, what your technology is like, what your business model is. So for this time and this couple days that you have left to see the form, I would recommend like knowing everything about your startup, asking yourself those questions, and being really like I don't know, get to know your startup way better in order to answer. And
Can
for
I
that,
compliment this?
yeah, of course, go ahead.
Yes, so I would recommend to go to our terms and conditions so you can see more information about what we will ask of your startup.
Yes, great. And also they're asking me, can we fill the application form in Spanish? Dani, maybe you can help me with that.
Yes, you can totally do the application in English or in Spanish. So you have those two options. But remember that as we're doing this webinar, the program is in English. So that's a really, really important thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, what's important is that everything is in Spanish or everything is English because we do get a lot of, well, we evaluate us sub stuff, but we also get some external evaluators that maybe only speak Spanish or only speak English. So that would make it better for everyone. Mariana says, I've found the growth and scale link, but not the other one. And that's a great question, Mariana. So we do have a program that's called Growth and Scale, and that's open during the whole year, during the whole time. And that's what you're seeing right now. It's a program, I don't want to go much into detail because we're talking about big, but it's a program to get into our ScaleX, the ScaleX thing from the Santiago Exchange. Okay. So that doesn't have to do with this program. So please wait until the 16th. And on the 16th, the whole thing will be up for you to apply, okay? But that's a great question. Thank you. Yerdy says, how many people from each startup can attend the program? I think Danny is the person who to answer that.
Okay, it depends actually if you're talking about the application process or you're talking about the whole execution of the program. Okay, in the application process, you have up to 3 team members, I think, for the Ignite and Growth, and for Build, you have up to 2 team members, if I'm not wrong. And this is very, very important because if you want to, for example, you are a foreign entrepreneur and you want to get here to Chile, you can get here with all of those members. We will help you and we will help them to get the temporary residency. They can go ahead and be here in Chile with you. There's no issue in that. But as I said, you have up to 3 or 2 team members.
That's perfect. Maka, you can help me with this one. Can they apply to 2 programs at once in the same application?
Yes, they can if they fulfill their requirements, but you will only be selected in one of them because you can have 2 programs at the same time. And that applies to all the Corfa programs. So if you are selected in another Corfa program and in one of our programs, you can execute both of them at the same time. That's really important.
Yes, that's another question that we usually get about Corfo other programs. We are Startup Chile by Corfo, so you cannot be executing 2 at once. Guillermo says, what if my team leader is a female, but she doesn't speak great English? Although I do speak it. There is a problem with that. Sorta. So let's talk about English. Our whole program will be in English. So let's clear that up already. If you're already like, or you're thinking about applying and you are not good at it, start taking that course right now because our academies, our boards, everything will be in English. Considering that you will have a lot of teammates and other startups from all over the world. So everything has to be in that language. So to answer your question, it's great that you have a team leader who is a female and who is a woman and she's a female leader, but she will have to do these things in that language. So maybe she can start studying right now and get better at it. But yeah, she will have to pitch, for example. She will have to attend academies and also participate. So yeah, if that, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, I think yes. Where can I find the points to evaluate on how you pick the startups that get into the program? Maka?
Yes, so you need to go to our terms and conditions, as I said before, where you can find the rubric with the different items and percentage of the evaluation for each of our programs.
Yes, everything is in the terms and conditions. The link to the terms and conditions, I can leave it up here in the chat, but it's available at startupchile.org. I think it's startupchile.org/apply, and also in the Corfo website. Okay. So yes, maybe we can leave them here at the description of the video as well. This video will be available for you on YouTube. So yeah, Danny, do you have any tips for the video that we ask for in the applications? And maybe talk a little bit more about that if you guys don't know.
Okay, so yes, you have to pitch your startup. Actually, we cannot give you clear recommendations as we are a public organization and this is all public. But what I can say is that you actually have to do a pitch about your startup. We have to get to know your startup, know your team, know if it's really tech based, for example, how scalable it is. We have to understand all of that in only 90 seconds. So what I can say is that it has to last 90 seconds, okay? We will not look more than that. We will stop the video and cut it and lights off and all of that. We will look only the 90 seconds, okay? So you have to be capable of telling everything that we need to know in those 90 seconds. That's what I can say to you, actually. And what I can say is to start looking at for example great pitches. You can look into YouTube and find some great pitches and kind of learn to imitate that, learn to see what's the main topics that you need to go through and kind of let us know what is your startup in those 90 seconds. So yes, I think that that's kind of the most that I can say.
Yeah, that's great. Also, I always tell people who are applying, have in mind that we look at, I don't know, maybe 30 at the least startups in maybe a day. So try to pick it up or like have our attention in those videos. Don't do a stand-up comedy, maybe yes, but yes, try to have a video that actually catches our attention. Okay, and yes, of course, explaining what your problem is and what the solution. Okay. So Maka, if they have questions in the next days about the application, where can they direct them or who can answer them?
Yeah, so you can write to hello@startupchile.org. That's the email. Maybe Amparo, you can leave it in the comments so they can have that email if you have any other questions.
That's perfect. Dani, do they have to have established company here in Chile in order to apply? How do they do that if they're an international startup and all that?
Okay, perfect. So we have three types of beneficiary here at Startup Chile. We have the company that has to be a Chilean company. Then we have the natural person, which is a Chilean natural person. And then we have the foreign entrepreneur, which is a foreign natural person. Okay, so if you have a company established in anywhere in the world, you have to apply to Startup Chile as a natural person. Okay, we don't actually Corfo does not recognize foreign companies for this program, so that's why you have to apply as a natural person. Okay, if you don't have a established company here in Chile, it doesn't really matter if you're a Chilean and don't have an established company. You can totally apply as a natural person. What it's be mindful though that you have to, for example, had as Amparo said, a validated idea and all of that. Have a you have to have the idea of the startup, okay? But it doesn't really matter if you have or not the company. But if you have a company, you have to apply as a company if it aligns with the startup that you are applying with, okay? So be very mindful of that. And yeah, I think that there's that. And if you applied as a company, you have to have at least 10% of the what's the word of the
Equity?
equity of that startup. Yeah, thank you, Amparo. But yeah, and we will help you if you want to establish a company here in Chile, being a foreign person, being a Chilean person, being anything. We can help you get to establish your startup and a company here in Chile. That's actually what we want you to do.
Maga, I know that Danny said like we cannot mention as much because we're a public entity, and so what do we look for in a startup who we actually select? Maybe you can answer from a personal view or something like that. But Maga, what would your advice be in that application? You know?
Yes, so apart from Daniela said of these four important aspects that we look for, I would say it's important that the problem that you're solving is a real problem. And because it's maybe the idea or the project that you're applying with won't be the one that you finish in the program, but it's important that you have clarity of the problem that you want to solve, and that you know that this happened to different people, that you talk with people and potential clients. So I would say that's one of the most important part. Of course, that you need to be tech-based and innovative, also and a scalable idea and have impact here in Chile and in the world.
That's perfect. Danny, how important it is to have co-founders in this application process? I think that's a great question.
Yes, it's actually important. We want you to start with a team, okay? So, but if you don't, we help you get to that. But yeah, it's very, very important for your if you have a team, tell us about that team. We want to know which are the minds behind this idea. We want to know more about what are the, for example, what background does the idea have? Because actually, if you have an idea and you have great founders, we actually are very mindful of that. We love good founders. We love a good team, because we know that those ideas can explode if we have a great team. Okay, so yeah, and okay, I want to, maybe I will be carried away a little bit, but if you are a foreign a startup and you want to apply as a team, you will not be able to pay those founders that you get here if they are not in the visa process. Okay, so be very mindful of that, that if you want to get here with a team, you have to pay them via Chilean way. And that is with a root number, with an ID card, and all of that. Okay, so be very mindful of that, because those people has to be here, and well, not be here, but they have to go through the whole visa process if you want to pay them. Okay, so be very mindful of that, because sometimes you say that you don't know, you didn't hear about that, and we get into trouble. So be mindful.
That's great. There was asking if the team leader doesn't have a percentage of equity in the company, but what happens if once they get into the program, they get them into it? Also, maybe it's not asked, but maybe we can talk about that. And it's about changing the team leader in the application, and once they get here. I don't know, Danny, if you can help me with that.
Okay. Yeah, actually, we have a lot of steps for you to get selected, and one of those first step is kind of checking all of the background of your startup. And if you you have to declare what kind of percentage you have in the startup, what kind of equity you have, and if you say 0%, you will not be admissible to get selected. So yeah, you will not be able to get here. And if we see that, for example, you declare that you have the 10%, and we then see the company papers and you don't have any participation in it, you won't be able to formalize with that. So maybe start doing those kind of paperwork and then apply to Startup Chile, because we have time. Okay, we have time for you to make those changes. And then the second question was, Sorry, I think that I got lost.
If they can change, the team
Okay.
leader.
That's a great question, actually, that we kind of get to repeat a lot of instances. You cannot change anything that's actually in the application form. Okay, so once you send it, that's done. That's our everything cannot be changed. That is the team leaders, the team members, the anything. It's kind of sailed. Okay, it's done and done. Okay, so be very mindful of that, who you picking as a team leader, because they will have to be 100% dedicated to our program. They have to be in Chile for the whole entire duration of the execution of the program and all of that. So be very mindful of that. Read the terms and conditions, and maybe see with your team which is the best one to get picked as team leader.
Thank you, Dani. Maga, do they have to have a budget actually in the application? How does that work with in terms of money, like what they can use it for? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, so in the terms and conditions, you will also find the categories of the expenses that you can pass here in the program. So there are some expenses that we can't approve in that category. And you don't need an initial budget, but through the program, we will ask you that you make this budget, and your business developer will help you adjust it for according to the goals that you set up for this program. And also maybe it will be changing in time, but you will get all the support that we can give you to make the best budget according to what you want to accomplish here in the program.
Perfect. And Dani, can they use or cover flying expenses, or maybe the expense of moving to Chile with the money that and the grant that we give them?
Yes, totally. Actually, the whole soft landing and landing part of can be covered and can be presented as your kind of prior expenses, which is actually only for foreign leaders. Okay. Yes, they can totally kind of, if they get chosen, you can just start your paperwork, get to Chile, and you can present all of those flights and all of that in the expenses report and the grant report tracking, in which hopefully if you get selected you will get to know more about that. But this is always first checked by your BizDev. Okay, so yes, you can totally present it. It will hopefully be approved, but you always have to check with your BizDev.
Okay, thank you. We're getting to the end of the webinar, so if you have any more questions, please leave them there. It's now or never. We do have a webinar tomorrow, which will be the same thing, but in Spanish. So you're totally welcome to come. And if you have more questions that you, I don't know, didn't come up with them now, you can totally come tomorrow. Same time, same place. Okay. So to wrap this up, I have 2 more questions. So, how many months does a leader have to be in Chile to execute the program? Because sometimes you say 4, sometimes you say 6. I know it's kind of confusing, but I don't know, Maka or Dani, who can answer that?
Yes, I can answer that.
Yeah.
So we have, I would say, 2 separate process. One is the acceleration program in itself, and that means all the activities, and that's it will depend on each of the programs. So 4 months for build and ignite, and 8 months for growth. But we also have the execution period, and that means the time that you will be able to spend the fund. So that's also 4 months for build, 6 months for ignite, and 12 months for growth. So it's not necessary that this, for example, in build, these 4 months will be the same, because usually the expenditure of the funds won't start at the same time of the acceleration program. But what we mean of that you need to be here in Chile for the whole duration. It means until your execution period of the fund ends. So the total amount of time, it will depend, but it's basically around that time.
Guillermo asked the last question. You can ask as many as you want, but is the program in Santiago right now? And the answer is yes. We do have a co-working space here in Monjitas. This is in Metro Bellas Artes, and everything happens there. So yes, it is in Santiago. You can move to Chile, but yeah, you would have to be traveling to Santiago maybe weekly. So have that in mind. And yes, I would like to end this webinar as I usually do, and it's asking you guys what advice do you have for these people who are wanting to apply. So yes, let's end it up with that. Maka, maybe you can go first.
So I would say if you really want to apply, just do it. Don't think it's too much. And I would say Chile is a great place to have your startup, and it's also a really beautiful place to live. And just try to think, what do you want to have in this program? What your end goal is, and how we can help you. So yeah, that would be my advice. Just read and listen to all that we have said, and go ahead and apply.
Thank you, Dani.
Yes, my invitation and my kind of comments about this is we invite you to watch all of our webinars, watch all of the things that we have in our YouTube, we have in our page, kind of start looking into what is Startup Chile, what do. We kind of have these webinars, but we want to know in which will you be participating if you get selected. What I recommend you also is start working in your application. We know that we don't have our applications already open, but start wondering, as Amparo said, what is your startup? What does it really do? We have to know about you. We want to know about your startup, and we want to know really good what is it. Don't think that we look into this and kind of steal your ideas, because we don't. Sometimes you think that we will steal your ideas, and that's why you don't kind of get to all of the details of your idea. We won't do that. Okay, it's all private, it's all really good. We believe in you, and we want to kind of guide you through the whole process. Okay, so I invite you to start wondering what really your startup do, and what do you want to do with your startup, what do you want to do here in Chile, why do you want to be here at Startup Chile, and kind of start wondering what do you want, and how can we help you to get to there. Okay, so that's maybe my recommendation.
Awesome. I'll end up with mine. So yes, do it with, I always say, do it with time. Do not leave it to the last minute. We do have our next webinar is on the 25th, I think, and the 26th. Yeah, yes. So come to those webinars with the application already filled, or like already you started with it, so you have actual questions on the forum and on what you're already doing. Tell us about your startup. I always say we want you to get into Startup Chile, so help us choosing you. And yes, do a great video. That's always something that should be fun. Okay, and yes, have fun doing it in the process, because it will be fun once you get into the program. So yes, thank you guys so much, and see you tomorrow, and see you in this whole process. Thank you, Dani. Thank you, Maka, and yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.